This is David Diaz, former WBC lightweight champion of the world, and you're listening to The Grueling Truth.
Welcome to another episode of The Grueling Truth Inside Boxing Weekly Show. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and right now I want to welcome in Jeremiah Preisser.
Good afternoon. Excited to be here. Again, I'm always excited to be here, ready to talk about some boxing.
All right, we had some interesting fights this last weekend, yesterday to be exact. We'll start off with Guillermo Rigondeaux against James Dickens. Rigondeaux knocks him out in the second round. What do you think about that one? I think it's pretty much what we thought it would be.
Yeah, pretty much what a lot of us thought it would be. I mean, it was a mismatch. I mean, it was kind of slow though. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going on through the entire fight. It just looks like Rigondeaux landed a really good shot, cut him on the jaw, and corner threw in the towel. I mean, Dickens, he didn't look completely outclassed, but then again, he didn't really do much. I mean, he tried to jab to Rigondeaux's body, but Rigondeaux, he's just too good. To be honest with you, there wasn't much of note in the fight. It looked like Rigondeaux went for a lot of uppercuts in the early going, went for a lot of straight lefts. He missed kind of frequently, but again, all it took was that one shot, corner through in the towel, and I'm just hoping he gets a bigger fight. Apparently Frank Warren is looking to bring him back in September, so hopefully they do so, and hopefully they get him against a guy, maybe Scott Quigg.
Yeah, Scott Quigg would be a huge step up from James Dickens.
Yeah, Jazza.
Yeah, I don't think that Quigg's going to beat him, but it's a huge step up from James Dickens. He got the Dickens kicked out of him. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I know it was bad because I get on YouTube today and I'm looking for the fight, and it says full fight, 6 minutes. So I kind of knew what was going on there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't really expect much, but it's just a matter of stepping up. Rigondeaux, he needs the best fights. I'd like to see him either move down or move up because he just doesn't seem to be getting the fights he wants at 122. 126 is loaded. 118 has better fighters. And I just don't really put much weight on 122 as a weight class anyways.
Yeah, it shouldn't be there. But
no.
But we're old school, so that's the way it is. I think the fight of the weekend, and I think going in we thought it would be, was Felix Diaz with a small upset over Sammy Vazquez.
Yeah, I think a lot of us underestimated how good Diaz is. I mean, he had a close fight with Peterson when he had his first fight at 147. A lot of people most people I know, thought that Diaz won that fight. And a lot of us, I think, have a tendency to underrate the guys from the Caribbean, except the guys from Cuba and Puerto Rico. The guys from
the Cubans get overrated.
Yeah, exactly. The guys from the Dominican Republic, the guys from Haiti, they don't get as much play as the other guys. But when you look at Diaz's previous experience, I mean, he was a gold medalist in the Olympics, but there was relatively no hype surrounding him. But after the Peterson performance and after this performance, I think we can all say that he's a legitimate contender. I mean, a lot of us thought Sammy Vazquez was going to outbox him. We thought it would be close, but Diaz just looked sharper. He seemed to be more crisp with his punches. You could tell that he knew exactly what he was doing in the ring, was very comfortable slipping punches. The amateur experience showed, but it was a close fight. I mean, I thought Diaz won most rounds, but, not by a sizable margin. It didn't look like anybody was seriously hurt, but it was a good performance by Diaz, and I'd like to see him against other top contenders.
So how do you think he would fare against the top fighters in his division?
I think he does pretty well. I think he would even give a guy like Danny Garcia problems. I mean, he looks like he can box a little bit, looks like he can fight a little bit. He's got quick hands. Not big power, but he looks like he can sting you if he lands right. I think he would do pretty well against just about anybody. I mean, Vargas.
Yeah, I think he could hang with anybody. Maybe not necessarily beat anybody, but he could hang with all of them. He's not going to embarrass himself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think he's quite on the level of like Manny Pacquiao or, I don't think he can hang with that. But like Jesse Vargas, I think he could potentially upset Vargas and take his WBO title.
So what you're saying is he's no James Jazza Dickens.
No Jazza Dickens. No, this kid. I'm not saying he's for real. That lack of power is always going to kind of hurt him, but he definitely looks like a good fighter in a good division. There's a lot of really good prospects in that division.
All right, we go to what was supposed to be the main event. I think it kind of went the way we wanted, only I think maybe it went a little bit longer than we expected. Deontay Wilder, TKO 8 over Chris Arreola. But Wilder was kind of a winner and loser last night. He won the fight, but he tore a bicep, broke his hand. They're saying it's going to take 2 surgeries. He's going to be out for a while. What was your opinion of the fight?
What to call it? I mean, it looked like a slaughter, or maybe a poor man's version of Holmes Cobb. I mean, Arreola just came forward and ate a ton of punches like he has in all of his title fights.
Well, I think the problem is it went 8 rounds because the first couple rounds he didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, to Wilder's credit, his jab was sharp. He was using his height correctly. He landed some nice shots. Dropped him in the 4th. He landed some real crisp punches, and I was surprised Arreola took him so well. I know he's a tough guy, but I'm not sure if it's an indicator that Wilder's power just isn't quite as good as his record indicates or what, but he was getting wild there, too. Wilder was getting wild.
Well, I think a lot of that could have been a torn bicep and a broken hand, since we don't know when it happened either.
Yeah, well, even through the first 4 rounds when he was tossing the right hand, he just has a tendency to get a little sloppy, and again, that's going to need some correcting. But after, he stopped throwing the right hand largely, I mean, he still kind of put it in there from time to time. He was still winning clearly. I mean, the jab was just eating Arreola up, who had no head movement. And, he was moving nicely, landed the left hook. I guess it's an okay win. I mean, we really didn't expect much else. And, the WBC let him have this voluntary, until the Povetkin thing plays out. But solid performance. Just hopefully that he recovers quickly and we get him back in with somebody worthwhile.
Well, I think over the last 3 or 4 fights, though, he's shown definite improvement, especially with the jab.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can tell that his trainers put some hard work in, and Wilder started to settle down a bit more. And I think these title fights they've given him more confidence. He looks more comfortable mentally in there, and that's a good thing. And another good thing is that he said he wants to unify the titles in 2017. The quicker he recovers, the quicker he can try and make that. He can try and realize that goal. But hopefully, it's a Povetkin fight first, and then. I wouldn't mind seeing him, by that time I expect Joshua, Joshua's probably ready for it now. Tyson Fury or the Klitschko winner, whoever that is. But, yeah, I'm just ready for all these guys to get it on and unify and show us who the man is.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start previewing the coming week's or the next week's fights. Another guy that could play into that from New Zealand is Joseph Parker. He's going to fight a guy by the name of Solomon Haumono, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that right or not, but I'm sure that I'll never have to say it again after this show. He is 24-2, 2 draws, 21 knockouts. The only fighter of note that I've seen him fight was Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson actually knocked him out. Parker is 19-0, 16 KOs. Had I won't say impressive win against Carlos Takam, but it was probably the best competition he'd faced, and he came through that with flying colors. So what's your take on Joseph Parker and where he stands right now?
Well, I suspect that this fight is kind of a stay busy fight. I don't know much about his opponent, honestly, but seeing as Parker is, I think he's either the top-rated guy, according to the IBF, or he's very, very close. I know Pulev is up there as well. I suspect that he's just staying busy, trying to stay in shape, and trying to prepare himself for the potential Joshua fight. I mean, because from what I understand, there are a number of guys that Joshua is looking at, and Parker potentially could be one of them. And I just think he's trying to sharpen the skills a little bit, get some good experience, and I suspect him to put this guy away. I mean, if Kevin Johnson, a faded Kevin Johnson can put you away, I think Parker turns the trick too.
Yeah, and I think with Joseph Parker, I mean, we really don't know how good he is yet. And I'll tell you, I know it's never going to happen, but I would love to see him fight a guy like Pulev.
I'm sorry, a guy like who?
Pulev.
Oh, yeah. I would really like to see that fight. I mean, from the potential matchups that they're throwing out there, it's either Parker or Stavern or Pulev, from what I'm aware of. I might be missing a name in there. But of all of those people, I agree. I would prefer it to be Pulev. Pulev even though he doesn't have a whole lot of wins, he's a bit more seasoned. I mean, he fought Vladimir Klitschko. He had a nice outing in his last fight, and I just think he's sharper technically. I mean, he had a long amateur background as well. He's got a good jab, not a big puncher, so maybe Joshua can weigh the potential risk there. But I think of all those fights, I think Pulev is the best one, and I think Pulev would give him some trouble too.
All right, now we'll go to Terence Crawford, Viktor-Postol, pay-per-view card. Number one, should this be a pay-per-view card?
No. Flat out no. I mean, I'm not exactly sure why this didn't get on regular HBO. I'm not sure why they weren't paying the money out. I'm not behind closed doors, don't understand the economics of things, but I just don't get it. I mean, it's a good fight. And whoever wins this match is the man at 140. They start a new line. They will be the linear champion. It's a good card. Pay-per-view worthy? No, unfortunately not. I mean, even though Postol had a really good win against Matias, he hasn't done much else aside from that. I mean, he had a solid win over Hank Lundy. Don't be getting ahead of yourself. We got to talk the undercard before we talk the main event. Right. Sorry. I'm sorry.
And on the undercard, the fight that stands out to me is Oscar Valdez against Matias Rueda. I know Valdez. I think his last fight beat Yevgeny Gradovich. Good win. He's 19-0, 17 KOs. Don't know much about Rueda. He's 26-0 with 23 knockouts. You said you've seen him fight a little bit.
Yeah, after I heard this matchup, because I liked what I saw from Valdez after his win over Gradovich. I mean, he looked sharp. He jabbed well, good technique, pop. Gradovich is a tough guy. After I saw that this matchup was being made, I just figured I'd go to YouTube and check out and see what this guy's about. And technically, he's not on Valdez's level, but in terms of power, it looks like he can pop a bit. Until he fights somebody of note and knocks him out. I can't say it's genuine, but it certainly looks like it's something to be at least mindful of. But given that, I don't think Rueda is on Valdez's level. Valdez looks like a future title challenger, and I expect Valdez to decision him. Again, it's kind of hard to make a prediction because Rueda, I didn't see him stunned or hurt in any of the fights that I saw. So it's impossible for me to say how good his chin is, but Valdez takes it.
All right, main event, we got Terence Crawford, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing, against Viktor-Postol. Postol has knocked out Lucas Matisse, also won a unanimous decision over Lundy. Crawford, last fight, also beat Lundy, but he knocked him out where it took Postol to distance. Postol's 28-0, 12 knockouts, not a big puncher. Do you give Postol much of a chance here?
Yeah, I give him a chance. I mean, he, like Valdez, he had a long amateur career. I saw him. I actually followed him coming up through the ranks because I was interested in what he saw. I have a thing for tall guys because I'm a tall, skinny guy myself. So I liked what I saw from him in the beginning, and then I was a bit surprised that he was able to knock out Celso Gaidin. He was able to stop Lucas Matisse. So I think he's had some good, solid wins, and I think he's placed himself atop the division for now. But Crawford just looks like something special. I mean, the way he switches stances, it's Hagler-esque. He's a good hitter. He's quick. He's just got about everything going for him. He's got a good chin. So I think this is a competitive matchup. It's certainly the best of Crawford's career. But I think Crawford ends up decisioning him, and he ends up becoming the new 140-pound champion.
Now, the rumors are the winner of this fight could get Manny Pacquiao. Do you think there's any chance if Terence Crawford wins this fight that he gets to fight Manny Pacquiao?
No, I don't think so. I think Arum can milk Pacquiao for, like a Jesse Vargas fight or something like that and gain a title. I don't think he feels it's necessary to put Crawford and Pacquiao in with one another, even though the fans would like it. For me personally, it would be
I might even pay to see that one.
Yeah, for me, it'd be a sort of, because I would favor Crawford at this point, and it would be a sort of, passing of the torch moment where Crawford would win and Pacquiao can fade away. But I just don't see that happening again. I think fade
away until they bring back Timothy Bradley for fight, 3 or 4?
4. Yeah, that's what we're all clamoring
Manuel Marquez said he's never fighting Manny Pacquiao again.
Well, I guess that's up to him, but I mean, I personally wouldn't mind seeing it at this juncture. I mean, when you have the options of, Jesse Vargas because he's a top-ranked guy, I wouldn't mind seeing a Juan Manuel Marquez fifth fight at this point.
Yeah, but in Marquez's defense, I mean, why fight him again right now? You just knocked him unconscious with one shot.
Right, he did what he set out to do from day one. He got the result that he wanted, and really what Marquez is in it for, anyways, is if Pacquiao had a title, I think he might be a little warmer to doing that. But Marquez's goal is to he wants to become a title holder in 4 or 5 different weight divisions. It's something a Mexican fighter has never done. So really, Marquez's focus is on one of those guys, like Jesse Vargas. I'm sure he would love to fight because that would get him closer to his goal. So yeah.
Well, and now the question is, does Marquez have anything left? How long has it been since his last fight?
Yeah, I saw his last fight actually against Mike Alvarado at the Forum, and he looked pretty good.
Was that about a year ago?
It was about 2 years ago, actually.
2 years. That's what I thought. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I know. He said he was staying, active and training still. If he can still beat a Mike Alvarado, clearly. I mean, Alvarado's fading. He looked terrible in his last Rios fight, but I think Marquez has. I think he has the stuff to hang with a guy like Vargas.
Well, I think Marquez is one of the most underrated fighters of the last 20 years.
Yeah, my dad's a huge fan of Marquez. I've seen him fight a couple times.
I think Marquez won at least 3 to 4 fights with Pacquiao.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who feel the same way.
Maybe all of them. Seriously, I mean, when I watched those fights, I thought Marquez won about every one of them. I mean, I'll give you the couple of them were really close, could have went either way. But, all right, that brings us up to my favorite topic, which is Gennady Golovkin against Kell Brook. They sold out in 12 minutes for the O2 Arena in London. So I guess in London they take this fight seriously. In this country it's not really taken that seriously. But I don't know about you, but I'm excited to see this fight. I
am too. I mean, it seems like the shit that they're giving Golovkin, it's died down a bit. And I think people are starting to realize that this is actually a pretty good fight. Again, Brook is a big guy. If Brook had come up and fought Canelo Alvarez, I reckon that's close to maybe a 60-40 fight in Alvarez's favor. But I guarantee you, a lot of people think Brook has a very good chance.
I think Brook would whip his ass.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an excellent fight. I wouldn't mind it. But I think it's a good fight, and I've heard from some of the locals, because I got some British buddies, and they told me that there's more hype surrounding this fight than anything Joshua is doing, and I think deservedly so. But I mean, Anthony Joshua's fights are selling out really quickly as well, and he's packing arenas already. But I'm excited to see how the British fans have taken to this. And regardless of how much crap people want to give Golovkin, everybody's going to be tuning in for this. This is a good fight.
All right, so we talk a little British. I know you're writing for thegruelingtruth.net, and we just posted tonight your article, the top 25 pound-for-pound boxers from the United Kingdom. I know you had Tyson Fury number 1, which I don't really agree with, but you kind of got to give it to him just because he beat Klitschko. You want to talk a little bit about the list and the top of the list? I know Kell Brook, who we just talked about, is up there. I do think you had Amir Khan too high, though. Yeah,
well, the thing about Tyson Fury is I note in the article, he doesn't look like the most talented guy of them all. But his win over Klitschko, who is one of the longest reigning heavyweight fighters ever, who is a dominant figure, that win, in my opinion, is better than any British win of any modern, any contemporary fighter. Klitschko was the man. That fight makes Fury the man, and in a day and age of so few lineal champions, I think that's worth noting. But Kell Brook, I had second. I think it's also worthwhile to note that he's considered the top welterweight in the world, and that's a division that a lot of us have our eye on. Especially because Mayweather competed there and Pacquiao competed there. It's a division
ever since I was growing up, the welterweight division was stacked.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when you got the De La Hoya era with Trinidad and Mosley coming up and all those guys, or you got Sugar Ray Leonard with Thomas Hearns, Wilfred Benitez, even guys like Pete Ranzani and Randy Shields were solid fighters. I mean, the welterweight division since the mid-'70s has probably been the most consistent out of all of them.
Yeah, and even today it's considered one of the best divisions, and Kell Brook is considered atop of it. I mean, it's because of his good win over Sean Porter. Unfortunately, Kell Brook, he hasn't done a whole lot outside of Porter. I mean, he's defended against guys like Kevin Bizier and Jojo Dan, guys like that. So, most of us were hoping that he would unify with Thurman, and determine the lineal champion there before, doing anything else. But I think he's, him being the top guy in possibly the best division in boxing, he deserves a spot up there. The reason that I put Amir Khan so high was the fact that he's an old school guy and he's got a stacked resume. In a boxing era like this one, where so many guys are steering clear of tough challenges, Amir Khan has been one of the few who hasn't. I mean, he's fought in a who's who from 140 to 147 and even up to middleweight. I mean, he fought Canelo, he's fought in Marcos Maidana, he's fought in, Zab Judah, he's fought in all sorts of good fighters, and he's won some and he's lost some, but he still maintains his position as one of the 10 best welterweights in the world. And again, I think that's noteworthy. I have Carl Frampton very high up as well. Carl Frampton is a guy
I would have DeGale ahead of Khan.
Against who? Ahead of who?
I would have DeGale over Khan.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And I think at this point, maybe even Saunders. I don't think Khan's what he used to be.
Yeah. Well, for
I'm
me,
not even sure what he used to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's always been a top player in his division, but never the best. DeGale I could see over him, because DeGale is arguably the number one guy at 168.
I think Saunders would have a case, but I just don't think he's got enough high-profile wins to get up there.
Exactly. I mean, his best win is probably over a fading Andy Lee, and it was kind of a close fight. His win over Eubank Jr. was pretty good as well, and he's also snatched some zeros from some contenders, which I like. But DeGale, yeah, he could potentially be above him, but I just like Khan's resume, the depth of it, so that's why I put him ahead of him. But I've also got Carl Frampton really high, and, of course, that could change. It all depends on how the Santa Cruz fight goes. But if Frampton pulls that one out, I figure it's a pretty big win for a British small man.
All right, so what is your idea for your next article people can check out on thegrillingtruth.net?
Yeah, I'm teasing a few ideas, likely be some sort of list. I've thought about continuing the pound for pound, but moving on to another country, maybe the Ukraine or Russia or something like that, because those are nations that I'm pretty well aware of. I've also thought about doing the best chins in boxing, the fastest hands. It's kind of a day-to-day thing right now, and I'm not exactly sure which one I'm going to pinpoint. Which one I'm going to pinpoint and pen it out.
All right. Well, you got any final words for the listeners?
No final words. No, it's just some. I mean, boxing's starting to heat up a little bit, and I'm excited to see what comes of this. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I guess I'll mention that there's a couple of Ukrainian middleweights fighting this week. With Sergei Devrchenko fighting Sam Solomon. I'm excited about that. And Yevgen Kitrov is also fighting on the undercard. And those are two guys with huge amateur backgrounds who have, very few professional fights and are already about top 10 contenders. I'm excited to see both of those because Kitrov, his power was it was renowned in the amateurs, and he had 500 amateur fights. He was 450 in the amateurs, and he's looked pretty good as a pro. Devrchenko's looked pretty good as a pro. Actually, kind of speaking to Juan Manuel Marquez, if there's anybody Devrchenko reminds me of, it's Marquez. They call him the mechanic, I believe, or something like that. They call him the mechanic, and he reminds me stylistically of Marquez. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Not much else.
All right. Well, remember, guys, you can follow us on Twitter at Grilling Truth. You can find us at grillingtruth.net. Also, check out the Facebook page. You can hear all the shows on iHeart. Tune in, Spreaker, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you catch a podcast, you'll catch us. I don't know if I've talked to you since this happened, Jeremiah, but Thursday night we became the number one sports podcast in the country. We're ahead of number 2 and number 3 both have ESPN emblems behind their names.
Wow. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, I'm very excited
about that. Listeners are well over 250,000 in like 8 months. So we want to thank everybody for listening in. Also, tomorrow night we'll catch the Canadian Football League Pick'em Show with myself, Brian Schmidt, Os Davis, former 4-time Grey Cup running back, 4-time Grey Cup champion running back, Robert Drummond. We'll also have a special guest on the show tomorrow night. We'll have Dieter Brock, who is a CFL Hall of Fame quarterback, played for Winnipeg and Hamilton, then helped lead the Los Angeles Rams to the 1985 NFC Championship game. Tuesday night, we get the Rouge, White, and Blue with Os Davis and Joe Pritchard and their take on the week's CFL action. Alan Buck and Chris Cook will be back with Game Day IQ. Wednesday night, we will have the Gridarmo Super Bowl Trivia Show, which Jeremiah got humiliated in last week.
I got 4 right.
Week or the week before? But whatever. It happens. Thursday, what was that?
I said it was last week. I got 4. I felt okay.
We've had people do worse. Thursday, check out another edition of the CFL Legends Show, as we'll have 2-time Grey Cup winning head coach John Gregory on the show. Also this weekend, of course, check out The Real Deal with Josh Benjamin. Also, Out of Left Field, best baseball show podcast on the Internet with Graham McCallum and Chris Fury. So, for Jeremiah Preisser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.